distinguished member of the Foreign Affairs in Poland, distinguished Deputy Director of the Auschwitz Museum, distinguished President of IBUCA Europe, distinguished guests and friend of Rwanda. This is a very important day for us. It's important also to draw some parallels, just to give the sense of the magnitude of what Rwanda went through. If I look at the Museum Auschwitz, I look at a very industrialized way of the machine of killing that took from, if I calculate good when we talk about the context of the Shoah, I'm talking 41 to 45 in the context of this. We're beyond the political prisoners on the beginning. So when I look at that, even with an industrial way, Rwanda within 3 months, Rwanda managed actually to be in the same, to kill the same amount of people. So I think it's important to draw the attention to the magnitude of the horrific moments that we went through. The other thing that became a bit symbolic for us visiting Auschwitz today, what for many we say, you were telling me earlier, saying you are sorry for the weather today. Actually, the weather was very appropriate for our own history. April for Rwanda is a high rainy season. So within the 3 months that the genocide was going on in Rwanda, within those 3 months it was raining. So having this on this time for us actually put us back into those moments, and I find it very appropriate since it is a day for us to remember, and having those signs that put us back in those moments, actually it helps us to reconnect with what went on in Rwanda. It is important for us also, being in a place like this, to be able to see the genocide in a universal context, where humanity has failed and given place to horrific moments. But also the way it was prepared, the way it was carried out, you can draw a lot of parallel with what Rwanda went through. And I hope that us also being here helps also to keep not only our memory alive, but to connect it also to on the level of humanity, to remember that 70 years ago, when there was a promise that never again, that actually we didn't necessarily learn a lot of our own history. So I think having memory days like these ones, it helps us actually to reconnect and to bring it back on the table, to say we are not actually secured from the idea of ideology of genocide. This year, as you can see on the screen, the theme of this year is Fight Genocide Ideology, built also on our progress. The context of the genocide against Tutsi in Rwanda is, although what led to it is similar to here, but we have something that is particular to Rwanda, that makes also our situation quite unique. The genocide against Tutsi was committed by Rwanda in Rwanda, but the stopping of the genocide too was done by Rwanda. So the liberation of or the stopping of the genocide was actually driven by Rwanda themselves, while the world was actually watching. So, which brings, when we remember, always an awkward feeling to the international community that was actually present in Rwanda during the genocide, and before, during, and after. So I'm saying it makes it unique, because we had, as a country, after the genocide, not only stopping the genocide, we had to face the question of reconstructing our own country within a context of universal failure, and within a context not only of a sense of universal failure, but also a denial of responsibility, and also denial of assistance after. Because after the genocide, those who had committed genocide were given safe passage, actually, towards the neighboring country, with taking with them, actually, a whole population. So after the genocide, we found ourselves having to reconstruct a country with 2.5 to 3 million people crossed the border, where the international community suddenly was quite interested in that story, became the focal, whereas Rwanda was left actually to have to reconstruct itself on our own. So empty, without means, without a capacity, without infrastructure, and without support other than, we were considered completely as a failed state, and we had to start actually from the bottom. So it's important to acknowledge the state of the affairs at that time, in order to be able to appreciate also the progress that Rwanda has been able to achieve within the last 23 years, being an effort actually of being also an image of resilience of the people that are Rwandan, trying to reconstruct the country, trying to reorganize their people, reintegrate and resow actually the social fabric that was completely distorted or broken. It's important also to mention the unique context that Rwanda found itself in, where the need to recreate a society, but also building a society with a sense of justice and a sense of cohesion, to be able to. So we had to become very creative as a country, since we couldn't, whatever was offered to us, whether on the international community, before, during, had failed. So we had to rely on ourselves to find solution that was tailored to our own reality. Because if you think of the international community building a court, international court, to trial on the perpetrators of the genocide. It took us over 10 years actually before even the name that we are using today, the genocide against the Tutsi, that name actually be mentioned. For a long time, it was a Rwandan genocide. Until today, some are still using that Rwandan genocide, massacre. So there are other, the denial or denying even to give it a name, where the victim stayed nameless within the international community. So it is 10 years later, for the first time, a court actually talked about genocide against Tutsi. So, again, in a way, it became a strength for Rwanda, the fact that Rwanda had to rely on its own to find solution. It pushed the government actually to start reconstruct the country, but with the framework of integration. So looking forward, confronting the past, but with the forward-looking mechanism. Rwanda started to look into its own history of how to solve our own issue. So we realized that justice wasn't going to work the conventional way. If we had 1 million dead, we had over 1 million culprit. So in a conventional justice system, it would have been impossible for us to resolve, at least to give a sense of justice. So again, we had to confront that reality, but at the same time, look, how were we able usually to confront our differences in the past? So that's when Gacaca courts, local court system became a tool to give a sense of justice, but at the same time with rebuilding also the social fabric through finding out the truth, confronting it, and finding a way forward. And people have to understand Gacaca. When we started to create Gacaca had as many critics as a follower. It wasn't a popular instrument to bring in the context of the day. There was a lot of skepticism because there was we were thirsty of wanting to have justice, and we couldn't see necessarily that Gacaca was going to bring justice, but we needed to deal with our situation in a way that helps us go forward. 10 years actually later, we were able to, I hope that person from Ibuka will be able also to touch that. We were able to get to solve over 1 million cases actually through the Gacaca courts. That helped us first to know to account for what happened. That helped us to be able to bury those who had been killed. We are still until today discovering new sites where people were killed. So that's on the part of the justice, on the part of development, because at the same time we had to, while we were building the country, we had to also create a sense of hope by rekindling actually the development. And one thing that Rwanda, we came from a country that saw its people as a threat to a country that saw its people as a potential. So the last 23 years, it was all about investing in people. So education, we came from a country that within 40 years was able to have not more than 4,000 university absolvent to a country that is able today to have more than 8,000 a year finishing university. So if you look, and by investing in people, we invested in hope. At the end, the economy came back today. For those who would have a chance to visit Rwanda, and for those who have been in Rwanda before, and I say it, you know, in a way, when I say before, it could be even a month or 2 months ago, 3 months ago. Every time you go back to Rwanda, you're always opening the eyes and say, okay, this I didn't see, this I didn't see, this is new, this is new, this is new. So we managed to create a momentum where Rwanda it has risen from its ashes, and today is a very vibrant economy that is seen even as a model to other nations. So as we are remembering, at the same time, we think it's important to build on our gains, our progress as we speak. But before even go into the progress, it's important also to say that the genocide ideology it still exists. It still exists, and it manifests itself not only in some cases in Rwanda, but it still exists also and manifests itself a lot within the international community, where the language, when you read press, when you read, until today, you still see a lot of genocide deniers getting a platform where they will speak, even within the diaspora community, within also, I hate to say, in this environment here, even within, it's for the first time that the Pope actually recognized last month officially, actually this month, but he recognized officially the failing of the church to protect and its involvement, and some of its members, a priest, and of the member of the church, their involvement in the genocide. So what you see in Auschwitz today, in terms of the camp, in Rwanda, churches were camps. Churches became camp, where people actually went to thinking that it was safe, and it's those safe places that were used at the end as a killing place. So it's important to draw that awareness, because it manifests itself by creating that confusion. It was a spontaneous thing. It was a massacre. It was a Rwandan genocide. So not recognizing actually the victim, and so I want to draw that attention that Rwanda, we still as a country are facing a lot of resistance of repatriating or arresting actually those who perpetrated the genocide, who are still, some who are still getting protection from countries that are hosting them. We even had lately a case in Germany where one of the perpetrator was arrested and then later on also being released. Not in our case, we just received a message that he was released on ground, not on a legal ground, actually on the demand of the country to release him. So we don't know yet the motivation behind it. We are still looking into understanding. But as I said, the challenges are still there. Rwanda as a country, we have been resilient. We have been, the fact that we were left alone to resolve our own problem, we still think that we bear a big responsibility on responding on the issue, but we still think that the international community can do more in addressing the issue of genocide ideology, the issue also of being part of the progress, building the progress, so that the environment still an environment conducive of social cohesion than social division. So I would like to thank again everyone for being here. I'm looking forward on the discussion later on, when we'll be able to, on questions and answer, address either the various issues that will be presented. I'm very thankful to those who have accepted to come to join us today and to do their own testimony, their own, bring in their own experience, but also their expertise in the discussion today, as Kwibuka is also an opportunity of dialogue and discussion on the issue. Thank you.